Chad here recording a Ravnica draft. Ravnica is awesome. It's back online. And also I'm overdubbing this audio because the audio on the original draft video did not record for some reason. So you're going to get this little stupid icon from my player saying to upgrade to whatever, to the pro thing. So yeah, this pick should have been a windmill slam on this Mind Leech Mass. But it's been a while since I've drafted Ravnica. I mean, I drafted it when it first came out and played it all through the block and all that stuff. But yeah, I read the card as to say a 6/6 Trampler for 8. That when it damages an opponent, you play an instant or sorcery from their hand without paying the casting cost. That is not what the card says. The card says play any non-land card, which is ridiculous. So yeah, so I picked that up. The second pick here I probably would have done differently. Flight of Fancy is the pick, especially after picking a black-blue card, I think. But that's not what I picked. I'm looking over, I'm looking at Chant here. Chant's decent, but it's double white. I've already picked like a 2-color card. And so I'm talking about here how I really like this sprite. A lot of people don't like it. I like it as it's a good cantrip and it can chump a big flyer or get in there for damage, whatnot. Veteran Armor is good too. Kind of looking it over here, but I end up taking the Lurking Informant, which actually this draft went really well for me. I did well. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but yeah, and the Lurking Informant actually plays a pretty big role in a couple matches. So even though Flight of Fancy probably is the pick here, yeah, I just end up taking the Lurking Informant and forgot how awesome the Fate Seal is. Sea Remand obviously is an exciting card, but then I took a second and looked and said, oh, Ribbons of Night is very broken. It's basically an Essence Drain on steroids. It's does 1 more point of damage and 1 more point of life gain, and if you spin blue, which obviously I'm going to be black-blue, you draw a card. Again, I kind of forgot what the card did. I thought the blue meant that you actually got to gain the life instead of just do the damage, but no, the blue just makes the card even sicker. You get to drain something, drain a creature, and then draw a card. And yeah, that's the pick for me. The Bramble Elemental is good there too. Here, there's some decent cards. That Swamp Walk guy that I just highlighted a second ago is pretty decent, but definitely not worth a 4th pick. So yeah, obviously you get a land and a Signet in the colors that you've been drafting. Yeah, I think I'm thinking hard on that Golgari Rotworm. It's a little less effective now that damage doesn't stack. Also, now that damage doesn't stack, remember this set did have damage stack, and there were no mythics. So that Mind Leech Mass, by the way, probably would be a mythic in today's ratings. So it was a little harder to pick, seeing that it's just a rare, you don't think it's that good, but there were no mythics in that set. So anyway, I'm debating over, is the land better than this Signet? So, and I think in hindsight the land's probably better. Here, obviously, Compulsive Research is a SIG draw spell, and so is or Drift of Found Tap can be a draw spell, as Transmute lets you look for a card that has the same mana cost. But obviously, Compulsive Research is the pick I'm going to take here. That Vidalcan Dismisser also is really good. People underrate that card. I know it costs 6 and it's a 2/2, but to be able to time ebb one of your opponent's creatures, that's also a good card too, the Gaze of Gorgon. It's a good combat trick that a lot of people don't see coming, especially since a lot of people are unfamiliar with this set, who might be drafting it for the first time. Gotta keep that in mind too. There's a lot of people that undervalue cards because they're not familiar with them. Like Signets and dual lands, not traditional dual lands, but the bounce lands still. These back in the day were high priority because your deck becomes kind of like this Frankenstein's monster looking deck. You have like 3 colors, maybe 4, sometimes even 5. I think I end up kind of playing kind of 5 colors. I splash a few things here, but the lands and the Signets are just so good in helping you just play just like the best cards you find. Again, there's another one of these Swamp Walk guys that's really good, especially with Dredge. You can during their upkeep sacrifice it and exile a Dredge card out of their graveyard. Vidalcan and Trancer, obviously, those with M13 are all familiar with that, but I take the dual land here, and then Stinkweed Imp is just the pick. Clutch of the Undercity is good. It's a bounce that that loses 3 life for the controller, but that's also a good card. It discards 2, and then you can regenerate whatever it's enchanted. That's good for fixing. But yeah, Stinkweed Imp is good, and I took it over Clutch because 1, I think it's just better, and 2, I didn't have anything to transmute for 4 mana yet at the time. Here, I think, looking back, I might have picked differently, but I still think the Gaze of the Gorgon is the pick here. Yeah, that's, looking at it now, that card might actually be good. I mean, it basically looks at the top 3 cards of their library and kind of fate seals them. But it also transmutes, so I could transmute for my compulsive research. And Clinging Darkness is good too as a spot removal spell. But yeah, okay, now here is probably the worst pick I made. I'm realizing that I don't have a lot of enchantments and that guy's not good, but then I go between this Ethereal Usher and this Netherborn Phalanx or whatever it is. I remember that the black card, the 2/4 guy, being really good, but looking back on it, yeah, making your Mind Leech Mass unblockable is probably the best pick. So yeah, I could have played that one better. We wheeled the Surveilling Sprite, which again, I like Surveilling Sprite a lot, and so to get it on the wheel is good, and I slammed that down, and obviously going to play it. Here, nothing in my colors, but you know, I kind of have like the green with the Gorgon, even though I don't need green, but and I wasn't really ready to go into white, so I take the Elvish Skysweeper here. It's a good removal spell, maybe not to start, but as a starter, but definitely a sideboard card. Obviously, I take the Swamp Walk guy. That's just awesome. These 2 cards I'm not going to play. This one here, with the Netherborn guy, the come into play ability of pinging them for each creature they control. I said, well, maybe I'll play it, maybe I won't. The Voyager Staff basically exiles a creature and brings it back into play when you sacrifice the artifact. So yeah, pretty good first pack. I was very happy. Basically, my plan is to ramp into this Mind Leech Mass, and so yeah, and so we're gonna see what else I pick up here in the second pack. Yeah, I'm basically saying these are important. You know, you want a bunch of bounce lands, you want a bunch of signets, and if you can pick up dual lands would be great. And then I open a Stomping Ground. So yeah, I thought it was worth more than it is. It's worth about 8 tickets, but still, I was excited to see a dual land. You know, I love them. I'm saying here, I'm going to take a dual land, and I'm passing up this great removal spell to do it, and also a great pinger to do it. But a dual land is a dual land, and you know, it's worth some tickets. And yeah, and you know, professionally, if you're a pro, you don't take the Stomping Ground here. You take a Palilary or a Gelectricide or Gelectrode or whatever it's called. But yeah, I slammed the money rare, and it actually ends up paying off. So no harm, no foul. Although if that dual land wasn't in there, I probably would have taken the Palilary over the Gelectrode. Just because, I don't know, it seems better. It pings them a turn, just like the Gelectrode does, but it also locks down a creature, no matter the size. So yeah, I know Stomping Ground isn't probably the first pick for some of y'all. If you're, you know, moto poor like me sometimes, when you see something worth a substantial amount of tickets, you grab it because, hey, you may not win the draft. So anyway, so here, to be honest, I can't remember what I take here. Oh yeah, I do know what I take. Yeah, I'm looking at the signets. I'm kind of like trying to figure out what I want to do here. There's not a lot of. I probably could have taken the Thrall, and that probably would have been the best pick. But since I got the dual land with the red, I obviously take the Electrolyze. Any card that can like 2 for 1. Or in this case, maybe 3 for 1. You get maybe two of their creatures, and you draw a card. Any card that replaces itself, I'm a big fan of. And yeah, here I am saying that, hey, well, that's the reason why I took Stomping Ground, because yeah, now I could splash this Electrolyze, and if I wanted to actually play this Elvish Skysweeper. But yeah, so yeah, Electrolyze is really good as it can split up 2 damage among you know, 2 targets and draws you a card. and any card that can do something like that and then replace itself is just really good. So yeah, so I'm kind of looking now. Again, I wish I would have had that other 6 casting guy that makes something unblockable, but I'm happy with my removal here. Things are looking pretty good, and so then I open this pack, and I'm reading this card because it has a ton of text. It basically has a lot to do with your green creatures for each green creature you control. So I'm like, okay, I don't have green creatures, so I'm just going to skip that. This is probably one of the worst guild mages. He only copies spells, and again, it's just kind of, you know, hit or miss. But Repeal is a great card. Again, I'm debating over Repeal, the Bounce Land, or the Blind Hunter Bat, all of which are great cards. But yeah, I end up taking Repeal here. Again, it's kind of a removal spell, or you know, a bounce spell, and it hits anything besides an on-land, and it replaces itself by drawing you a card. So Repeal is really good, and that's what I'm saying here. Yes, it replaces itself. It's good, and it's in our colors, so I'm going to take it. So yeah, so I have the Electrolyze, the Stinkweed Imp, the Gaze, the Ribbons, and the Repeal is kind of removal. Here I'm reading this and realizing how bad it is. Looking at it now, maybe taking the Signet would have been good, but yeah, I mean, I take the Torch Drake here. It's probably not worth, you know, the pick that I took it in as early, or maybe the Battering Worm actually probably would have been a better pick. But again, I just I wanted flyers. I wanted to kind of stay in color. There's an argument to take a lot of cards, the Shrieking Grotesque even, you know, and splashing white or whatever, but yeah, I'm looking at this guy. Seems pretty good. And not a spoiler, just kind of foreshadowing. We do see that guy later in the draft, in a game, and it's pretty sweet. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, but I take the Torch Drake here, and yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, it's not like a bad pick. I can see how someone would argue that, but I liked it here. Here I see another, you know, I'm reading that land, and then I say, oh, there's another Torch Drake, and Palilary I like, but then it's playing another color, and there's another dual land, and then I'm like, oh, there's Dousing Gloom. Directly in our colors. It's another life gain effect. Yeah, the Morning Thrall, there's an argument for that. You can take Train and Thought. But yeah, removal, I just like removal, and I wasn't ready to dip into another color. I mean, I have green, I have red, blue, and black. I'm just missing the white. So I just go ahead and take the Dousing Gloom to try to stay at least in 3, maybe 4 colors. I mean, technically I take away the Elvish Sky Sweeper and I'm in 3 colors, which it's kind of hard not to be in 3 colors in Ravnica draft, but being in 5 colors is not unheard of either, so that's why the mana is so important. So yeah, so I took the removal spell there. Here, I take the Torch Drake, and I'm considering the Wee Dragonauts, but it's just such, excuse me, such a kind of iffy card. If you don't have any, you know, instants or sorceries, it can be just a 1/3 flyer for 3, which is decent. I have no clue what I'm saying there. I don't know what I'm saying there. I have no clue. I guess I'm looking at sorceries, like what instants and sorceries that I have, and I don't have a lot, so looking at Poison Belly Ogre, which actually is a pretty decent card too, but I just end up just taking the Torch Drake because it's a solid guy that as long as I have mana it grows, not as long as I have a spell and the mana to cast a spell it grows. And of course now again I'm saying here with the Stomping Ground, it can kind of help splash a little pump here. Here I see Wild Size, I get excited, I say that guy's good, but I'm not on the beatdown plan, and then I say that guy's pretty decent and realize that I'm touching every card around a Ogre Servant, which is obviously the pick here. It's nuts, and again I'm got a little red, and it's you know, if you spend color is a blue, so it fits into my second main color. So of course Ogre Savant is the pick here. a 3/2 that basically 2-for-1s them. You get a creature and you get to bounce one of theirs is really good. So, and again, more foreshadowing. There's some sweet value I get with the Ogre Savant, and you'll see. And I forgot which match it is, but it's good. Here I actually consider this crazy artifact that permanently copies an artifact if you spin a blue and a red. I'm playing blue and red, and there's a lot of good artifacts, and there's signets if nothing else, but it also, you can reset it. You can keep changing what it is for 3 mana, and you can do it at instant speed. But I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. Also, I don't even really give the guild mage much credit, which I should have. But again, it's not like a windmill slam, so I just take the dual land here, or the bounce land, excuse me. You could have taken the guild mage. That obviously is a reasonable pick. The artifact you could make an argument for. And so right after taking this white-black dual land, looking back on this pick is another one I probably would have changed. Maybe not though. I was trying to read that, see if it was, I thought it was a different card. I take the Blood Hunter bat here, and yeah, I'm showing that because I have black-white, I can play it. I'm also looking at this guy, obviously considering him, but he takes mana to do his ability, and I'm not going to have a lot of white mana. I mean, I could cast him as a 2/2 if I don't have white mana, where I can't cast the Blind Hunter bat unless I have white mana, but I just liked the upside on the Blind Hunter bat better. Might not be the best pick. I have no clue what I take here. Oh, actually, I'm talking about taking the Street Breaker Worm here because it's ridiculously good, and I could probably play it with my Stomping Ground, and maybe playing like a Mountain or something like that. I'm talking about how good it is, and then I go to see what this other white card does, and I pick it. So yeah, whoops. Anyway, yeah, Street Breaker Worm was the pick there. I just yeah, I just didn't get it because I misclicked. But okay, so then obviously here there's not really much, so I take the other dual land as it, or the bounce land, as it can play black, which is my color I'm heaviest in, and it's another chance to make sure I have that white mana for that Blind Hunter bat. So right now I'm looking at taking out the Elvis Skysweeper. I'm in 4 colors, really 3 colors, or really 2 colors with like a double splash. Again, not unheard of in Ravnica. I know if you're playing M13, which has been the latest stuff, yeah, it's nuts to think that, but yeah, that's very doable in Ravnica. And again, I take more mana fixings to help. Argument for the Poison Belly Ogre there, but yeah, I mean, I like ramping. Again, taking a Mind Leech Mass, pick one, pack one. You want to get ramp spells. You want to ramp into it. Obviously, I take another Torch Drake here. It fits. I'm not opposed to having multiple 2/2 flyers that I can pump. So yeah. Again, this Lurking Informant plays a lot better than it looks, at least in this match. And so I do get a Poison Belly Ogre. I'm not playing Wild Cantor, and end up I hide him here, I think, but I end up siding him in quite a bit. He's pretty nuts against tokens. I mean, yeah, he pings you when you play a creature, but my deck is slow, and I'm not playing a bunch of tokens and a bunch of creatures at once. Usually, I'm playing just kind of one creature at a time, ramping into big creatures. So actually, that pick was better for me than I thought. Here is a pretty bad pick. I say that, it's not the worst pick. I'm looking at this hit, obviously. I guess I was just looking at, I was kind of scared of it being another multicolor card that I don't have the mana all the time to do. And actually, no, I take that back, it's not a bad pick. I was actually looking at that Graft rare, the rare there, and thinking about it before I saw the Seal of Doom. And my argument for not taking the hit and run over Seal of Doom, which is what I take, is that even though the Seal of Doom can't hit black creatures, it can hit artifact creatures, and they can't regenerate, and it doesn't give my opponent a choice of what he sacrifices, because with so many signets and cheap artifacts and things like that in this set, and cheap creatures, it's just not going to do what I think what Seal of Doom could do. So yeah, I take Seal of Doom. I laugh at Wit's End. It's just a horrible card. I don't like it. There's another Seal of Doom here, obviously, top right, and maybe I should have taken it. And I get a little schizophrenic here in these next few picks because I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. But I just don't like having a bunch of removal spells, as you hear my dog bark in the background. I don't have a bunch of removal spell. I don't like to have a bunch that are like destroy non this or non that. So I take the tapper here. What I love about him is he doesn't take mana to tap, and that's key. Like, you don't have to sink mana into him to tap him. He just, you know, hey, you tap him, you tap a creature. It's great. So I end up taking him. And this pick, I really consider Radkos because he's kind of in our colors, and it's just a nutty card to play. End up taking, I believe, the Signet here, just again because it helps. It's in our colors. It helps us play more black and red spells. Obviously, we're splashing red, and black is our main color. Although blue is starting to take over, it looks like, now that I'm looking at it. But anyway, and I could have taken the bounce land there, the white blue. That's a good argument for that. Again, I'm not sure if signets or bounce lands are better, and I know you don't want too many signets or too many bounce lands, so I'm trying to kind of stay even. You see I have 3 bounce lands in a duel, and so I end up taking the and I'm really considering that guy. I'm looking at like, okay, what do I got? And basically I'm saying I have my finisher, so I'm not going to try to take another big guy. That might be a dead draw. So okay, here's a kind of a questionable pick. There's another tapper which I took over a Seal of Doom, which looking back I should have just taken. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was just wanted to make sure I had enough mana and I could play my my Mind Leech Mass or something on turn 6 or something. So I end up taking the Signet here, I believe, which looking back at it now I would have not done. I would have taken the tapper again. That's the tapper is just what's his name, Minister of Impediments. I should have just taken him, yeah, and I didn't. So that was a definitely I disagree with that pick. Delirium Skeins. I'm recognizing the original Ghost Quarter art. Yeah, Assault Zeppelin's the pick here for sure, hands down. If I didn't have Stomping Ground, I may not have taken it, but I did. I'm reading this. I thought this was, for a second, I thought it was just like me, like it counters all my spells, but it's whenever a player, so it could be fun, but just kind of hit or miss. Yeah, I'm just trying to see him. He's more of like a beatdown card. Hellbent is like not what I'm looking to do. I'm not going to be playing all my cards out. I'm going to have plenty of cards in hand. So I end up just taking Hellhole Rats. I don't start it, I don't believe, but in a beatdown deck it's really good. But even in a non-beatdown deck, it's a 2/2 for 4 that can get in if maybe your opponent's doesn't have a blocker for it or something. But it also causes them to discard a card. So yeah, I go ahead and start him, and then hide the Sewer Dreg, whatever, because I think I'm going to start it in its place, but I don't. Here, I don't know of another pick that I would have taken differently than the Macabre Waltz. I take the Waltz. I guess there's an argument for Karam, since now I have some white, but again, I don't want to get too heavy into my splashes, and white is like a splash. Like, I'm already splashing a little green and a little red, and I have one, like, I have to spend white. So I'm playing 5 colors, so I just take this. I'm thinking, that might be good. Also with Stinkweed Imp, if I dredge it and I dredge like my Mind Leech Mass, then I can get it back. I take the Ogre Gate Crasher or whatever, Gate Catcher, whatever it is here, because there's a lot of defenders and it's a good sideboard card to. I mean, it's a Hill Giant, so it's actually good to start. But I have too many playables to start it. But it definitely hits a good defender when you see one. I guess here I'm saying now with the Stomping Ground, I can I could main deck the Elvis Sky Sweeper, which I don't think still is the best to do. I mean, if you don't know if they have a lot of flyers or not. So yeah, I take the Sages here. There's really nothing else. Again, I don't want to play a lot of white cards. I'm not heavy white. I'm just got the one white spell there with the Blind Hunter bat. I was thought this card said that it was all colors, but I must be thinking of a different guy. Yeah. But anyway, I take the Sages. I figure it's a good, 6-drop. It can draw me some cards. I take the Shielding Plaques. I end up not starting it, but hey, it's still a real decent card. I mean, it replaces itself, and it, like I say, putting on a Mind Leech mask, making it untargetable is pretty nuts. But it's just I'm getting too many playables to start it, so I do not end up starting it. Goes to sleep or not. So. Yeah, compulsive research is good. Anyway, so do I take another Shielding Plaques here? I'm not sure. Again, that card's not as good. The last one I showed before this one, with damage not stacking. So yeah, okay, I do take the Brain Pry. I figured I wasn't starting the first Shielding Plaque, so I take a second one, and Brain Pry might be good. Like if someone's got like a super bomb card, it might be kind of like a duress, even though it costs one more. If you name a card and they don't have it, you get to draw a card off of it, so it's not the worst. But again, it's not startable. So here I'm cutting some cards I think I might not play. I'm realizing that minus the land, I have 25 cards already that I've got to start, and I'm thinking I can't do that. Again, here I'm looking at Hellhole Rats as no, a non-starter. There's another Shielding Plaques. I think I end up taking that just because I'm like, they might have a big dude that I have no way to stop on the ground. So playing a 6/3 for 5, even though it's kind of sacrificing one of my own creatures, might be worth it. Definitely not going to start it, obviously. But yeah, the deck is shaping up pretty well. I was pretty happy with the way it came out, and again, it plays pretty well. Yeah, I consider the Rite of Passage all the 2-drops, and putting on a Torch Drake obviously is good, but I ended up taking Ignorant Bliss because it's just kind of like a draw spell. Again, and it also it's better in Hellbent decks. If you have a bunch of Hellbent creatures, it's really good. You attack with your Demon Jester, and then as an instant you basically exile your hand, and now your Demon Jester is a 2/2. It goes from a 2/2 to a I believe it goes to a 4/3 or something to that effect, and you draw a card. So I didn't think I was going to play anything else out of that pack or out of those other cards, so I just took the Rite of Passage so I don't get burned by a Hellbent card. So yeah, here on out it's just picking up junk and trying to figure out what I'm doing as far as making cuts. I probably should have taken the Delirium Skeins here, just because I don't want to get destroyed by it, but I don't know why I didn't take it. I guess I figure if my opponent's going to play it, he's going to wait till it's the last card in his hand, so it's going to be a while before he plays it. End up wheeling a Rite of Passage anyway. And if he plays it early, he wants to discard a couple cards, then I guess I'm okay with that. So there's an argument, to not doing that. So anyway, I'm talking about how great this card is, even though still at this time I'm unaware. I'm not realizing that it plays any non-land card. Let me stress that again. It plays any non-land card out of their hand. Creatures, enchantments, artifacts. It is nuts. It's really good, and we get to see it in action this draft, so it's pretty sweet. So yeah, Compulsive Research is just the best draw spell in the set, in my opinion. Especially in the color it's in. Obviously, being in blue, you play more lands because you're kind of more of a control-y type deck, and so you're going to have a land to pitch to it. Sometimes you pitch 2 cards, but it's rare in this format that you're going to pitch 2 cards to Compulsive Research. I mean, obviously, if I would prefer it to be an instant. If it was an instant, I don't know what that was. That's in the original video. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Anyway, if it's an instant, it's like just too broken. So Okay, so sorry for all that like mess there, but here I start the deck build, um, and yeah, as you can tell, I'm kind of filtering stuff out. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it here, and if I can, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it and bring it back to the end of the deck build. Alright, so here we are, we're back. This is what the deck looks like. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's the last card to put in. I originally did the first build and said, oh wow, I've got like all this space to put stuff in, and realized I hadn't put any signets in yet. So I put the signets I put in because let me see, why did I put the signets I put in there? It had something to do with the mana, like having too many white and wanting more blue, or something to that effect. So those are the signets I put in. Ended up not running the Orzhov signet, and I'm still, again, I'm going to run 17 land, which looking back might have been a lot, might have been too many. But anyway, 16 land probably was okay, would have been okay to run, but I run 17 here. Yeah. You can listen to my dog bark some more. So, making this last play, I end up going with the Sages, and probably in hindsight shouldn't have done that. Should have started the Poison Belly Ogre. Yep, and then I add my lands, of course. Wasn't sure about adding 2 of the bounce black white, and to be honest, can't remember if I do or not, but I'm pretty sure. No, I guess I don't. I figured that was enough. I guess I could have started it, would have been okay, but yeah, I just don't have enough white to do it, and I'm considering is a signet over a land better, all that mess. Is Voyager Staff worth playing? Things like that. Considering maybe is this guy not good, or is that guy good enough, I'm sorry, to play with the Voyager Staff. But yeah, it's just too conditional. And I look at my stats here and add my land or whatever. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, I was wondering why in the world it said 4, why it had 4 symbols, and I thought it was because of the land, but I think it's because of the signets. It says it have 4 white symbols, so it's a little hard to look at the stats. Yeah, I take the land out real quick to see if it has changed at all, and it hasn't. So anyway, add the lands back and just tell it to suggest here. And I don't want any white because I only have 1 white spell, so I take a white out, and I think I take a green out too because I've only got 1. Yeah, I've only got 1 here, and I've got the dual land. So I end up adding, since I have 2 red spells, I end up adding 1 of the mountains. So it gives me like 2, 3, 4 red sources, which might be a little too much. Probably could have added a couple more swamps and just like 2 swamps instead of 1 more mountain, or ran 1 mountain. But anyway, that's what I do. I'm kind of looking at, how many sources I have for blue and black and all that stuff. So I can't remember what I do for my last land, to be honest. But yeah, so anyway, I had something close to this. Yeah, it looks like I add another swamp. So yeah, that's it. Let's go to let's go to the round 1 here, and we'll see you in round 1.